Good afternoon, everyone. Senator the Honorable Ann McEwen. Professor David Lloyd, Vice Chancellor of the University, is slightly delayed and will be joining us soon. Professor Renee Osterling, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the International Space University. Associate Professor Brenton Dancy, Acting Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of South Australia. Distinguished guests, academic colleagues, participants in the Southern Hemisphere Summer Space Program, ladies and gentlemen. I think that covers everybody. Welcome to this closing ceremony of the joint University of South Australia and International Space University Southern Hemisphere Summer Space Program for 2013. This program is taking place on Ghana land, and on behalf of all here today, we pay our respects to the traditional owners of this land and to their living culture. So, will you all please join me in welcoming the members of our graduating class of 2013. Excellent. So again, welcome everyone. We are here at the closing ceremony. It's 5 weeks since we have all come together to share this extraordinarily beautiful campus and city. And now we're at the end of our show. We are very honored to have with us, to speak with us, Senator Ann McEwen. Senator McEwen was elected Senator for South Australia in October of 2004 federal election and was re-elected for a second term in the 2010 federal election. Currently, she holds the position of Chief Government Whip in the Senate. Additionally, she's an active member of a number of Senate committees, including the Senate Finance and Public Administration References Committee, Foreign Affairs, Defense and Trade Legislation, Joint Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Defense and Trade, Procedures Committee. It goes on and on. This is a very important person. During her time in federal parliament, she's been particularly active in working on issues regarding refugees, workplace relations, higher education, Australia's Indigenous population, and Veterans Affairs. Please join us in welcoming Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much, Professor Scott Madry, for that introduction. And thank you so much for your entrance today. That was quite a way to end the working week, I have to say. And I'm going to see if I can get something like that happening in the Australian Senate every day. I too would like to acknowledge the Kaurna people, the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and I thank them for allowing us to be here today. I'd also like to acknowledge Professor Renee Osterling, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the International Space University, and when he gets here, Professor David Lloyd, our new Vice-Chancellor for this magnificent University of South Australia. Minister Kate Lundy was invited to be here today, and she's the Minister Assisting for Industry and Innovation, and she sends her apologies. She would very much like to have been here today because she has a great interest in science in particular. But I was thrilled to be asked to represent her here today. I always enjoy visiting our higher education institutions in particular. And when Minister Lundy asked me to represent her here today for this particular event and this particular program, it reminded me of that day in July 1969 when I was a young schoolgirl and here in Adelaide, and on that day the whole school spent the whole day watching the first moon landing, Apollo 11, and I well remember sitting in my classroom the whole day with this fuzzy black and white television watching as Neil Armstrong finally walked upon the moon. And that was a wonderful day in the history of the world. It was a magnificent human achievement, and people of my vintage remember it very well indeed. So, and it's great to see people are still interested in space and making a career of it. It's been wonderful to have such a diverse group of students from around the world here in South Australia, my home state, and in my favourite city of Adelaide. So thank you so much for making the time and taking the effort to come and spend some weeks in our beautiful city. I hope we've made you welcome, and I hope you've had a great time here. And you couldn't help but have a great time here at the University of South Australia because it's a fine institution and we're very proud of it. The Australian space industry, and South Australia in particular, has played a long and strong role in the global space community. In the north of our state here, we have Woomera, which during my childhood was a mysterious and iconic place. We knew they launched rockets there, and we knew that there were scientists there from other places in the world who were doing intriguing things. They were involved in what we called the space race back then, and they were busy inventing and testing innovative technologies. Woomera was an important part of that first moon landing, and we've always been very proud to have it here in South Australia. South Australia also, of course, has a claim to the world-renowned astronaut Dr. Andy Thomas. And we take pride in welcoming and harnessing the strengths that come from working and cooperating across cultures in all spheres. Space science and research is an area where the Australian government continues to make significant commitments to international cooperation. And I'd like to make mention of the Square Kilometre Array, the SKA, for example. Australia and New Zealand, together with South Africa, were chosen to be the sites for the world's largest and most powerful next-generation radio telescope. And to do that, we had to work cooperatively with institutions from more than 20 countries. That's one way that we can expand our understanding of the universe and better leverage the immense potential of this vast resource that we call space. Similarly, my government welcomes the partnership between the University of South Australia and the International Space University. We're proud to be able to support the Southern Hemisphere Summer Space Program through the Australian Space Research Program. And the government has invested some $40 million over 4 years in 14 projects through that space research program. And that's helping several consortiums involving institutions such as Flinders University here in South Australia and the University of South Australia, Adelaide University and Queensland University to conduct space-related research. Also in Australia, we've made good progress in recent years in articulating our space policy and strengthening our contribution to global space industry. In 2011, the Australian government released the Principles for a National Space Industry Policy, and that sets out Australia's strategy for space engagement based on 7 key principles, including supporting innovation, science and skills development, and strengthening and increasing international cooperation. Australia has also affirmed its commitment to peaceful, safe and responsible activities in space. And I'm pleased to see that those principles and commitment are reflected in many aspects of your program here. The Australian Government actively supports the principles of peaceful, safe and responsible activities in space, and that's why we're developing at the moment a comprehensive policy on Australia's use of satellite and conduct of space activities. That will be Australia's first ever policy on space. I don't have to tell you how important this program that you've participated in is, not just to Australia but to the rest of the world as well. It's hard to imagine now what life would be like without the benefits that modern space research, investment and technology has brought us. Who could imagine a world now without satellites and satellite communication, a world without GPS, or a world without Google Earth? And I know that many of you here today will go from here back to your careers, back to your universities, and I know that you'll take what you've learned from your program here and you too will come up with some fantastic innovations like those ones that I just mentioned. I'm sure the last 5 weeks have been pretty full on for all of you, but I hope you've learned a lot. I've hoped you learn to enjoy working collaboratively and cooperatively with all the different skills and abilities that you bring. I'd really like to thank you on behalf of the Australian Government for choosing to come here to do this great program, and I'd like to thank the University and the International Space University for choosing to have the program here in Adelaide. So thank you very much. I offer you my congratulations on successfully completing the program. Thank you again for the dancing and the chanting. That was beautiful. So go from Adelaide back into the world and make your mark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator McEwen, for your very appropriate remarks. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the International Space University, Professor René Oosterlink. Professor Oosterlink is a very long-time person involved in ISU. He was for 31 years on the staff of the European Space Agency and had extremely important positions in that regard, including the directorship of the Galileo Satellite Navigation Program. Professor Oosterlink.
Thank you, Scott. First of all, I want to thank the President and participation in this graduation ceremony of the Senator Anne McEwen. I think we are very grateful that you are present. The Associate Professor Brenton Dancy, Acting Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of South Australia. Thank you for being there. Distinguished guests, academic colleagues and participants in the SHSSP, and ladies and gentlemen. In a few moments, you will all officially graduate and become part of the ISU alumni family. You will be part of a family that has today 3,500 members from over 100 countries. In fact, we have today 104 countries represented with our alumni. I don't think that there are many universities who can claim having so much diversity of nationalities as alumni, and we are very proud of this. We talked very often when we talk about ISU, and you participants, you know it, we quote the 3 I's, the internationally, interculturally, and that I think is very clear when you look to the number of nationalities that participated in our program. As far as interdisciplinary is concerned, and I'm saying this for not for you, you know it, but for the other who are present here, in ISU, the interdisciplinary character is illustrated by the fact that our programs have, and the one you have followed, different disciplines, like, for example, space business and management, space life sciences, space policy and law, space physical sciences, satellite applications, space system engineering, and space and society. So all those different disciplines are handled during the core lectures of our programs. One of the main purposes of the summer program is to give to the participants an overall view of space activities. During my career in ESA, and as Scott was saying, when I was director of Galileo, one of the main problems I witnessed is in fact to see engineers, scientists who have no understanding of the problems other people have in the program. And this applies not only for law, for example, for finance, regulations and so on, but even between engineers. One engineer will say, I need more power because my signal generator, I make it better, without thinking about the consequences for the space solar panels which you need, bigger solar panels, we need another launcher. So just by changing a small thing, the implication could be 20 or 30 million for the overall program. And that's something we try to give here to the students, to the participants, an insight of the problems all people have in such a program, so that you have an overall view of what's happening. Now, of course, it's clear that not everybody can be a system engineer, and we don't need only system engineers, we need specialists. But at least those specialists should be aware that there are other issues in a space program than just his issues. And I think that when talking to you and when seeing your presentation yesterday, I think that's a message you got, and that you have now all a feeling about the problems a space activity is facing. And I was very satisfied also to learn that the engineers were saying that they enjoyed the law courses, which just illustrates that you got the message. Besides this program, ISU has other programs. You know, we have the 9 weeks program, which will take place this year in Strasbourg, in France. We had such a program in 2004 in Adelaide, and at that time there were 140 students of 27 countries participating in this program. This was a real success, but ISU is committed to make from this kind of program the same success of its 9-week program. We feel that it's complementary. The 9-week program has a certain goal and the 5-week program has another goal, and I think it's very important to have those two programs. Now we talk about the Global South. I'm from the Northern Hemisphere. I've done almost all my career in the Northern Hemisphere, but maybe something you don't know. I started my career in the Southern Hemisphere. I started my career as a teacher of mathematics and physics in Zaire. And Zaire is below the equator, so I mean, it was really the Southern Hemisphere. And I learned there many things. I learned in particular that when we are in the Northern Hemisphere, we feel that everything should be regulated as we think. And we don't think that summer is not the same summer as where we are. And so many things, in fact, I learned there, and I realized that those are two different regions and that we should respect those two different regions. I therefore hope that this summer program will go on. It has been a success the 3rd time. I hope that we will have a 4th time next year. And from ISU's point of view, if it could be again in Adelaide, we would be very happy, because this is a wonderful place. And then we could go maybe in 2015 to South Africa, South America, India, or maybe China. Let's see where we can have a good place for 2015. Now, finally, I wish to thank the University of South Australia. As I said already to the students, I think this is the best place we ever had in ISU. The facilities we had access to here are really extraordinary. Also, when you see already where we have this event, the event yesterday, and the fact that you could just use those facilities yourself, I think is marvelous. Therefore, thank you very much again to the University of South Australia for the support you are giving to us and to these programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, René. I realize I was remiss at the beginning and I failed to introduce myself. For the 3 people here in the room who may not know me, I'm Scott Madry, and I have the great pleasure, along with my colleague and friend Michael Davis, of being the program director of this extraordinary group of people this year. So those of you who were with us at our opening ceremony may remember that the students enter in order of their national countries, and they enter behind their national flags. But it's a long-term ISU tradition that at the closing ceremony, our students all enter together in one group behind the ISU flag. And you will notice when we hand out the diplomas that we do not mention which country they are from, because now they are ISU people. And so every year, our students elect the flag bearer as a sign of respect of the person who best embodies the 3 I's that ISU seeks to promote. And this year also very much got points on dancing as well. But the students every year also elect one of their own class to speak for them today at this closing ceremony. And so I'm very, very pleased to introduce to you our student speaker today is John Furness. He's an undergraduate aeronautical engineering student at the University of Adelaide. John?
Thank you very much, Scott. One moment. Good afternoon, everybody. Distinguished guests, ISU faculty and staff of UniSA, and for the participants, a big Nigerian hello! Hi. Primarily, I would also like to acknowledge the Ghana people, the traditional owners of the land. I will keep this concise, precise, and not emotional in any way. That's not a promise. It is a great honour to speak on behalf of my new best friends. 37 people from all over the world. For me, however, 5 weeks ago, the trip to Mawson Lakes was a little bit different. For me, it began with a long 30-minute drive from my suburban home in Blackwood, south of Adelaide. Albeit that journey was short, it was no sign of the adventure that was about to begin. And it's a great pleasure to have so many brilliant people come and stay in my home city. So the launch was smoother than expected. All engines performed nominally, and acoustic loads were at a minimum level. With a simple nudge of social encouragement from staff, we coped exceptionally well with the ISU space environment. But where did those 5 weeks go, guys? So fast, it's incredible. I just want to mention some of the memories because I feel like this is the time to think about it. So from playing hacky sack to some minor setbacks, dancing in Experience 1, learning of other languages and cultures, trips to the Barossa or Second Valley, field trips to Mount Lofty, the Cleveland Wildlife Park to see some kangaroos, multiple Rube Goldberg attempts, a simulation of an extravehicular activity, debating the reasons for and against human space exploration, schnitzels, clapping, there was so much clapping, networking with people from across the world, and being involved in communities like when we had the astronaut panel at the Italian Centre. Soy and Yi and the space schnitzels, sharing Intelsat stories, saving Will from a medical catastrophe on the moon, and stitching up the wounds of past chickens. The white paper, wow. The presentation was incredible. Lycra-clad space sustainability man. Who was that? And the Space Masquerade Ball, which we had last night, and it really was a brilliant event. So classmates, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at the awesome photographs of the first days of the program. And I want you to recall your early thoughts of the people that came to Mawson Lakes. And this afternoon, take a moment and take the time to observe the faces of the memories, the smiles you have become all too familiar with, the high fives, the frustrations, singing and dancing, and the clapping and the laughing. From my observation, it appeared that not one person here had a particular dream, but it was more about the dream of having the dream and the experience that goes with that pursuit. So we all came here to have that experience of the ISU Southern Hemisphere Summer Space Program. And I would argue that's maybe not unlike that of a human space exploration mission. So in the pursuit of that experience came discovery and knowledge acquisition. And with the environment we were provided with and the intellect at hand, I really thought we could change the world. Maybe we didn't make for a sustainable space environment overnight, but the real lesson here is that there is no time to not approach a problem without haste and passion. We knew nothing of our topic, and with enthusiasm, we worked so hard to prepare some exceptional work. Friends, this is only just the beginning of greater things. The message you've all been telling me is that our time is short, we need to get off our arse and do something. Dream big. Oh, happy days. But we wouldn't be here without the help of the staff that sang us songs, shared our smiles, and lived the experience with us, which meant dancing in Experience 1, pulling some all-nighters, and sharing jokes and laughing all the time. Their passion became ours, and they brought out the best qualities in us all. So on behalf of the class of 2013, I would like to express our wholehearted and true gratitude for their contribution. So thank you so much. But classmates, as the privilege of class speaker is truly with me, because I get to publicly say how proud I am of you all. We may not have changed the world, but our lives have changed. Things will be different from now on. Thank you so much. You're all an inspiration.
Way to go. So now we come to that portion of our program when we have the great pleasure of presenting to our graduating class their diplomas. And so at this point, we're going to ask our class to please fly over the Adelaide region. I think it's at about 72,000 meters, give or take. We want to thank our good colleague, David, for providing this beautiful satellite image of the local area, which he said I can take home. Is that correct, David? Oh, perhaps I misunderstood. Anyway, David, thank you for all the contributions that you did. He's lectured and provided us with an enormous support. So at this point, we'll ask our class to please go outside and do a little remote sensing as you're going by, and they will head out and line up. And I will also, at this point, ask, without a traffic jam, when they're finished, if Professor Osterlink and Associate Professor Dancy would join me here for the presentation of the diplomas. We always hope this part works. If I forget one name, things sort of go downhill, but we try very hard not to. We do have one person who successfully completed our program who, due to medical condition, is not able to be with us, Imran Ali, and we will be sending him his diplomas by mail. But I would like to now recognize, in alphabetical order, our graduating class of 2013, and we will start with Brooke Ballog. James Bass. Chris Butt. Like those shoes. Dominic Davis. Scott Dorrington. Matthew Duroux. Jock Duncan. Scott Fisher. Clementine Fox. John Furness. Han Junhai. Hu Yokyu. Timothy Jacoby. Katie Jamal. Nicholas Jameson. Ursha Kanir. Anthony Kelly. Vatsala Ketawat. Advet Kulkarni. Li Shen. Brian Lim. Liu Zhu. Ranak Manoharan. Laurent Massico. Edward Mercica. Sangwan Oh. And Sangwan Oh also receives a special certificate for completing successfully the one-week Space English Access course by Carol Carnett. Alejandro Ortega. Francis Pam. William Reed. And William also receives a second ISU diploma for scoring the highest in the academic portion of our programs. Miguel Sampaio. Gregory Talbot. Ping Tang. Mark Todd. Wong Chun Min. Jack Ye. And Zong Long. Please join me and give our graduates a big hand. Woo-hoo! Congratulations to you all. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you Associate Professor Brenton Dancy, who is currently Acting Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Division of Information Technology, Engineering and the Environment at the University of South Australia, and is responsible for 3 academic schools and 5 research institutes, as well as having overall management oversight of the Mawson Lakes campus. Professor Dancy.
When I took this acting role on, which was late in December, they didn't tell me that I owned a space institute. And I'm, from what I've seen over the last 5 weeks, I'm absolutely delighted that I do. I've been thoroughly impressed by the program as a whole, by the staff, and particularly by the participants in the program. What I saw yesterday was outstanding, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and it got me thinking about the next time that I'm sitting on an aeroplane with all of this space debris whizzing around my ears, hoping that your white paper will have some effect in terms of getting rid of some of it. I know that I'm not up quite high enough in a plane yet to be running into too much of it. At least that's the naive understanding that I'll take away and hang on to. But it was terrific yesterday. I think it may have been John who said, and I'm slightly paraphrasing here, it's sort of a pity that university learning can't be like this all of the time. And that's, there is a certain sadness to that, because in fact, whilst it can't be exactly like this all of the time, not only within the University of South Australia, but I know other institutions around the country are trying to think seriously about how we transform higher education into more of the sort of open-ended problem-solving type things that you've been involved in, and a little less of the drudgery of looking up the end of the textbook and finding the problem and working through the solution. That, as important as that is, of course, I mean, you need good technical skills and you need good understandings to sort of solve the problems that you've been thinking about. But you also need the sorts of experiences that you've had in the last 5 weeks. And we've been absolutely delighted, as the Vice-Chancellor joins us, to have you here at the University of South Australia to provide you with the access to the facilities that we're trying to provide with our students. So it's been an absolute delight, and I know that many of you said yesterday that this was an experience that you greatly cherished and that you will remember for a long time, and certainly the same is true for us. So it's my pleasure also now to thank a number of people and organisations that have made all of this possible through the significant assistance that they've given us to deliver this program. First and foremost, the University of South Australia acknowledges and thanks the Commonwealth Government, represented today here by Senator McEwen, which has provided support for the first 3 years of this program, in fact, under the Australian Space Research Program, administered by the Space Policy Unit of the Department of Industry, Innovation, Science, Research and Tertiary Education. And none of this would happen without the terrific support that we've had from the department and from the ministers, and we're very grateful for that. And as Renee said, we are looking to find ways to continue on and give this experience to a whole range of other students and participants. Aside from the department, we also, as you know, have a range of major sponsors that we are very grateful to as well for contributing to the program in a whole range of different ways. It's not just about the financial support that they give to us, but the in-kind support and all sorts of other things that make this happen. And so we're grateful to the European Space Agency for all the help that they provide, the Secure World Foundation, the International Space Safety Foundation, a very appropriate sponsoring body given the topic of the work that you've been looking at over the last 5 weeks, the International Association for the Advancement for Space Safety, the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation. You can see that this is a long list. There are a lot of people who have come in and helped us to put the program on. We're particularly delighted to thank the Italian-Australian community in South Australia, who've been very generous to us and enthusiastic. Wouldn't quite do it really in terms of the way that they've embraced you and their colleagues and put on a number of events to celebrate the occasion being here. NewSat Limited, the Research School of Astronomy and Astrophysics at the Australian National University, who are certain leaders in Australian space development, the Robert A. and Virginia Heinlein Prize Trust, and the Warrigal Program at the University of New South Wales. So you can really see that this is a significant joint contribution being made by a large range of institutions. And there are many other program supporters who assist in making this an informative and enjoyable time for all, as we've seen. I would echo the comment, and it's a pity, Vice-Chancellor, that you didn't see the entry procession when the students came in. I think it's set a new standard for the way that our students should enter graduation ceremonies come forward. I'm not sure how it would work with 3,000 students entering the convention centre in such a way. We may need a number of leaders who have the rhythm provided by the group here today, but it was an impressive sight, no doubt. They may even give you a reprise if you are lucky. This closing ceremony also marks the end of a very intensive teaching time for the SHSSP staff, and I particularly want to acknowledge the outstanding contribution that the faculty team has made, and ask them in a moment to come down and accept a small token of appreciation from UniSA. Now, some of them have come from a long way away, and as I've said at the start, they tell us how difficult this 5 weeks is, spending the time here in Australia when back home the weather is so delightful and all those sorts of things. So, and I know that a couple of them are heading off to France for the summer just to continue the misery of having to spend their life in circumstances like this, close to excellent wineries and other things. So, however, that aside, they put in a tremendous amount of effort. You have acknowledged that both today in the words that John gave us, and particularly yesterday as Renee and I talked to you about the experiences. And so I'd just like them to come down now and to acknowledge them individually and to give them a little token of our appreciation. So if the staff could join us down here, please.
Scott, Michael.
Okay, so Professor Scott Mackay, Professor Scott Madry. Mr. Michael Davis. Miss Carol Carnett. Dr. Ray Williamson. Mr. Mark Mackay. Miss Sarah Langston. Mr. Rob Hunt. And last but by no means least, Professor Renee Osterling. I think that's where my piece of paper ends, but I know there's one other person to thank, and that's Leslie Grady, who has... Leslie really has worked, as you know, very hard for not only the 5 weeks plus that you've been here, but for much of the time before that, getting ready. For her, it's very much a labour of love. And thank you also for the gift yesterday and for not telling her that I told you that it was her birthday. Scott.
Thank you very much. So the secret's out. That's how we found out. So I would especially like to welcome Vice Chancellor David Lloyd, who's joining us. He will join us for the reception outside later, and so thank you very much for joining us. So that's all there is. We've thrown everything we could possibly throw at you, and you have acquitted yourself wonderfully. But as usual, our students have requested to have the last word. So I will now turn it over to Brooke and Anthony, who have asked for a little inclusion on the program. So.
So, hello everyone. My name's Brooke and this is Anthony. So we just wanted to thank the staff ourselves. So we're just waiting on something to come in. You guys have done an awesome job, and you really make the program everything that it is. And we just wanted to show our appreciation. I think on behalf of everyone, I can say that you guys are amazing people, and just like John said, you really instilled that passion into us, and we're so grateful. Yeah, we'll just take a breather for 5 seconds. Here we go. Yes, it's on the floor. All right. So we'll start with Leslie, please. Leslie has done a lot of organising for us, and we really appreciate it. She takes care of us, makes sure that we're fed and that we've got somewhere to be, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much. we've got a bottle of wine as well coming, but we'll get that to you in a second. Who next? Carol? You really helped us with our revision for our quizzes and the exam, and we all really appreciate it. You made sure we all understood what was expected, and yeah, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. Sneaky drink. Who next? Mark, do you want to come down? Mark pulled an all-nighter with us the other night to help us finish off our white paper, and that was just incredible, and we are so grateful, Mark. We could not have put it together without you. It's really amazing. Rob? Up you get. Rob has driven us around and made sure that we've been fed with some healthy food in the last week after we got sick of all the junk, and we really appreciate everything you've done for us, Rob. You're a great guy. Thanks. He also helped organise a trip to the observatory, which a lot of people really loved, so thanks for that as well, Rob. Who next? Ray? Ray, you helped us with our white paper, giving us lots of advice, and we really, really appreciated everything that you did for us with that too. We couldn't have got the white paper done without your input, so thank you. Our policy and law lady, Sarah. Thank you so much for teaching us about policy and making sure that we did put it in our white paper because it was important. As much as us engineers like to forget about it. Thanks. And Renee Osterlink. Where is he? There we are. Thanks for helping us with our white paper. You've got lots of experience and we really appreciated all the advice you had to give us. And last but by no means least, the two most important gentlemen here. Up you get, you know who you are. Professor Scott Madry and Michael Davis. Oh, there he is. These two are the stars of the show, and you guys really make the program. And without you, it wouldn't exist, and we all really appreciate it, and we loved our time here. So thank you so much, guys. It was awesome. You guys are great. So that's all we have to say. So thanks again to everyone, and the program wouldn't have been what it is without all of our helpers, and we really appreciate it, and we loved it. We've had an awesome time. So thanks.
I should let them speak more often. Well, that really is all there is. After 5 weeks of very hard work and a wonderful time, we now come to the point where we have to draw it to a close. But as we always tell our students, this is really just the beginning and not really an end. We did our best for you. We really did our best for you. But truly, it's now all up to you guys. And so will you please join me in recognizing one more time our graduating class of 2013. Way to go, guys. And now will you all please do us the honor of joining us for a reception out in the hall. The first drink's on me. Oh, happy day!